Hey everybody, it's Tree from Tree Essentials, and I wanted to just come in for a moment and kind of like brief back some and kind of explain how and why I know the different things I know on when I'm speaking in regards to like transforming and restoring into your change and being your best self through your wellness dimensions for your hair growth. And you're probably like, why? I mean, I see a lot of videos and people talk about different things, and that is really important, as I too learn from many individuals, and I will learn from many walks in life. Life is teacher, and life is a classroom and a playground. So what I'm trying to say is, because of the experiences I've gone through, I've been looking back, and everything that I do is for a reason, just like everybody does what they do for a reason. And my biggest reason for what I do is because of love. And love is like the highest frequency, and it is an amazing thing to have. There's many different types though. And there can sometimes be a imbalance in some of the forms of love. And I will put those love types here. But I've been in different places of all the different forms. I don't think I've been through every single one. Yeah, whatever. But there's many different forms of love, and the main love that I love to pour in is always telling everyone to self-love, self-care. There can be balances where it goes overboard, and there can also be balances where you're not even doing enough to actually show that love to yourself. And I've been in all the different experiences. Again, my hair thrives the best when I am in the minding my business phase. I love that piece. But minding my business is also minding the business of certain individuals that I can assist and help. And I've been sometimes muted in my voice because of some of the situations I've gone through. And so I want you to know on your hair growth journey that you may go through, again, trials and tribulations and situations that kind of make you feel really uncomfortable. And it makes you feel like, oh my goodness, why am I still doing this? And those different dimensions of wellness, I need to touch into those. That's your spiritual, your emotional, your social, your financial, your educational, your I always do that. I leave out too. Environmental, social. So you need to chime in first on the dimensions of wellness. This is highly important. Like, this was my favorite thing learning in school, because it made sense on everything, and it pours into every endeavor that I've done thus far in life to be able to assist you on your journey. But they're environmental, social, emotional, educational, occupational, financial, and environmental. And yep, I said all of them. And there's many other areas people like to chime in on. There's so many great looks on what dimension of wellness is. But what I've learned over time, I've always wanted to help. I've always wanted to assist. I always knew I was going to serve others. It's always been my favorite thing to do. I'm the oldest girl in my family, and there was a point where I was like helping a lot because my mom at the time, she was single at one point, and she's not any longer. She's married, but I was like always helping, and that was like my role. And so I loved doing that. Even into high school, I was called Mama Tree. And then into college, I was the friend that always assisted and did everything. I love to throw down. I love cooking. That's my favorite thing to do, I promise you. But over time, of course, you grow. Everybody needs to go and depart. That is nobody's fault where I'm speaking of. But in my perspective, what I've went through was a lot of detachment in situations where things were not going as what I want them to. So I always say the only constant in life is change. I've had to put that into perspective a lot over life, over and over again. And sometimes it started getting to a point of overwhelmingness up until now, because I've been literally finding ways to overcome. Over the years, I've done things to make sure I'm not falling out of disbalance. And there were some areas, though, in my dimensions of wellness. Again, it's a circle, which means it's a circle of life. So you're not going to be perfect all the time. And sometimes you don't know what areas you're lacking in. So that was part of my issues, too. But basically, over time, I decided, first, let me backtrack. When I went to college, I always knew I was going to go to college. My mom made sure to instill that in me, and I was so grateful for that, because that's a great networking opportunity, and I met some great people. But I as well kind of started doing things in school. Asha and Abe don't want. I don't recommend. And it wasn't a lot of different things, but I did go ahead and I drank, and I as well would smoke marijuana, nothing else. I did not do other things, but I was at a point where it was at first a casual thing that I did with my friends, and then of course, like I said, people leave, we grow up, we become adults, people get lives, and I'm the hot auntie, so I don't have kids, I have dog babies, and so I started kind of being alone a lot, being alone. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll do this. And life situations happen. Like, oh, I'll go do this, and go mind my business. Because I literally don't like bothering people. I don't like to be in the way. That is part of my issue. Go figure. But that's something I work on still to this day. And everybody has something to work on in their dimensional wellness. So nothing's wrong with that. But I kind of use it to kind of numb my emotions on regards to hurts and traumas and things like that. And everybody has things they deal with, but it's kind of like something that it got me away. I get to mind my business in peace and not be bothering nobody. And one thing what I will say is it definitely blocked out feelings. And I am a lover. Like, I love. I went to college first for nursing and then biology. Biology is straight the study of life. So I love life. I love everything about it. I love people. I love animals. I love nature. It's like my favorite thing to be in. I love new experiences. But when I say backtrack on the experiences, I've seen a lot of different things. And I also been so loving sometimes. Sometimes I'm letting in and inviting the energy of others that possibly did not love me, or they loved in a way that was not healthy for my loving type. So I don't fault people for things. There's no judgment here. And that's part of my problem. I don't like to bother and judge or whatever. But that can be harmful in a sense as well. And because I was so open, and I am a person, I love to get help with things, meaning I like to learn. So if I can learn a new skill, or if there's something I'm not doing right, sometimes I ask for assistance in that area. And I'm learning, you do not get help from everybody that says they are trying to help you and God and help and assistance. And I learned that over time through different experiences and trials, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about for whatever went with you. Like, we're not about to go down the whole whoop-a-loop. It is what it is. But over that time, I've always had a love for God, and He's never failed me. I've always known He loves me. But there was things I wasn't doing that was the most loving to Him, which was that for me, because I'm His temple that He resides in. And so I was having lacks in certain areas because of me not fully pouring in my fullest suit. And I look, oh, that's a big end. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. It ain't gonna bite me. But that's a mosquito now. Yeah, so I was kind of not doing my best for my body and everything, so my perception or my discernment wasn't fully of where it could be. I'm very good at reading situations, though. That's part of one of my gifts that God gives me, but as well, because of what I was doing, wasn't being soberish. I was getting my judgment swayed out in the wrong areas. And I love me some Jesus, first off. I've always been in church my whole life, but I go in and out of different churches. Sometimes there's parts that I want and need from a certain place, and maybe I'll grow from a certain area, and then it's time for a new, or sometimes it just wasn't fitting for me. And there's no fault there either, because my walk is my walk. And the one thing that I've been learning on this process of hair growth and wellness is those who in church my whole life, but I go in and out of different churches. Sometimes there's parts that I want and need from a certain place, and maybe I'll grow from a certain area, and then it's time for a new, or sometimes it just wasn't fitting for me. And there's no fault there either, because my walk is my walk. And the one thing that I've been learning on this process of hair growth and wellness is those who matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. So what I'm learning is that is a go figure moment. Sometimes, even if you're going to certain areas that are faith-based, they may not be fitting for you. And I learned that on the process. I've as well learned, though, a lot of people that say they are your friends too may not mean the best for you. I've learned as well, sometimes even specific family may not be the best. And that is something that is in the word, that God says you will leave your father and mother's land. No, not your mother's. You'll leave your father's land and go to a new foreign place that I tell you. And I mean, your girl been faith walking for a while, and I was like tripping up in certain areas because it is what it is, and I told you my thing. But when I tell you, always been on a path to where he wants me to go, and I never really fully understood some of the pain parts. And so what I'm about to do is I'm gonna stop real quick and find this scripture, because it talks about what love is, and that's what I've been learning on my self-love, self-care journey. And I've made sure as a person that I get the credentials to be able to explain things in a way that best suits me. I'm a thinker. I love to be learning. That's my thing. I'll always learn. I went to school, eventually became the health educator. Then I became a yoga and meditation teacher. And some people are like, Jesus, yoga, what? Stretching, boo, if that's what you need to call it. I've gone to school, and I became a civic garden coordinator. Shout out to the Civic Garden Center, Greater Cincinnati. That was my love space. I became a pharmacist. Shout out the Eco Village. Like, people poured into me in some of my worst times. And some people would have thought I was in my best times. That's where I want everybody to sit and stop judging what you see on the outside of what somebody actually is going through. Because I really don't talk about myself much to people. I feel like it's really not everybody's business to know what I'm doing with my life. But God also says seek wise counsel. So I don't mind that. But sometimes when you're not in a full spirit of discernment, you may seek the wrong counsel. So that's why I'm saying all of this to say, and lastly, the hair part. I went to school and became an advanced licensed natural hairstylist. And so when I tell you God has blessed in every situation of these different credentials, no matter where my finances are at, because that's the part that up until now, I'll say I've been lacking. And I'm on faith right there now, learning that portion now too. But every class that I've had to take has been covered by the grace of God. Literally, like even college. When I went to college, Obama at first had that loan forgiveness plan. But God, I went in there. I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to pay all these loans back." Then the loan forgiveness program came. I became a teacher. I said, "Look, I'm gonna get and become a teacher. It's gonna pay it off." And I became a science health teacher, and my job, shout out Cincinnati City Schools, they paid for my license for me to pay off on my licensures to become an actual certified health teacher, because I was going based off of my health educator degree. So I'm going to go say all of this. Oh, the Civic Garden, that was a free opportunity for me. The being an eco village, that was in my worst times ever. I was going through transitions, meaning having to find rental assistance, meaning the opportunities. And let me backtrack. I, in college, became a community health worker, certified community health worker. Shout out University of Cincinnati Medical Center. They paid for centering pregnancy. They paid for me to become a certified community health worker. I as well became a centering facilitator because of that. So in that, they paid for those. Shout out to them. And I've been able, and I as well now am in a doula class, and I'm grateful for that. In this situation is for donor certification, even in the sorrow portions and pieces that I go through. It's a recovery opportunity, and I'm forever grateful. The natural hair program paid for by the grace of God. Ohio means jobs, and thankfully I had my teacher, Miss Nikki. She put that opportunity out for individuals to come to, and I'm forever grateful for that. And the part that I paid for, no, I did not. I paid a mini portion to become an energy healer. Thankfully, I as well paid nothing to become a meditation instructor. Like, that was by the grace of God. And right now I'm becoming a breath worker. I am becoming an ESL teacher right now, paid for by Procter & Gamble through Coursera, because of the absolute blessings of United Way. And United Way of Greater Cincinnati, they actually allowed me to be a Blessed Black Empowerment Grant recipient in the year 2021, 2022, and it changed my life. Basically, what I'm trying to say is faith is what got me through all of this, and that is love. And so let me go ahead and show you the scripture that I have to tell you. So I found the scripture. I had to write it down because it's a long piece, but I want you to know my Instagram, I do not add everybody, so please don't add me if I don't know you. I'm sorry. I know I gotta get to know you first before I give you on my personal page, but it's Faith is in there. It's Faith and Tree. And before, my first real Instagram's name was Tree So Lovely. So I changed it from Tree So Lovely because I felt like, I think I was going through a breakup time at that time, so I wasn't feeling the loveliest at the time, but I knew I had faith always. And faith has gotten me through so many different situations and circumstances, and almost life death experiences. Like, I've been through many different things where at this point it is what it is. I don't hold that against myself or others, or I try not to dwell on it too much. Sometimes I feel that pain, but this explains it's not supposed to be where I'm at forever. Like, God says the blessings of the Lord maketh rich, and he'll add no sorrow to it. When he's saying rich, he's saying full, like in the inside. And that sorrow is weeping forever, like it never ends. And I don't feel like that all the time. I did have a point in time where I shouldn't have been in certain environments that weren't servicing me. Like Tupac said, a rose that grew in the concrete, it is what it is. Like, I have to shift and move, and your girl will do something about it. Like, I'm always a find a solution type person, but sometimes the solution is getting assistance and help. So I wanted to go back again on the scripture. It's 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. It is, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love doesn't delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects. It always trusts. Always hopes. Always persevere. Love never fails, but where there's prophecy, they will cease. Where there's tongues, they will be stilled. And where there is knowledge, it will pass away. So basically, I say all this to say I am a natural hairstylist, and a wellness person, and a lover of life. I love nature. I love love. And that patience part has been something that I've been figuring out. Oh my goodness. And that's part, don't complain about it, but like, man, I've been figuring out what's going on, well, why I go through certain situations, and they've been happening honestly since being born. And it's not a why, it's a why not. My mom said to me in some of my worst times, she said, God wouldn't give you nothing more than you could bear. And I'm a bearable person, okay? Like, I am short, though. That's one thing. I'm 5'2". I think it's comedy because I be out here figuring it out. And I love that for me because I can help in so many ways that I did not even see the talents for. And I do not want to waste my talents just minding my business. Like, let me tell you the two definitions of minding. So minding is to be distressed, annoyed, or worried by, or minding is to be regarded as important. So I want to mind my business of tree essentials. I don't want to just mind the business of tree out here in these streets. Like, I am not. That's what God said. We do not have a spirit of fear. We have a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. And I've always been resilient. And in that process, my hair is thriving. And sometimes in that process, my hair get unvital. And that's always a result of what environment I'm placing myself into. So with all that to say, I can bring a new environment perspective to your experiences, and I can assist on helping you bring change in your hair growth journey. I've been through many different things. I'm not the oldest, I'm not the youngest. I'm like right there, like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears type vibe. And I love to always come from a peace, positive, loving perspective. I am working on the part of just letting everything go, detach, and that is this part of the journey, being able to assist others on their journeys, because a lot of the things I experienced in the long suffering portion was not for me, because I always knew. I talked to God before I went through certain situations, like in my hospital experience, and I'm like, I'm gonna be okay, you gonna be there, all right, bet. And he said exactly what he said, and that's a whole nother video. One day I'll speak up about that. But I just want to be to able to be a trusting space for you to be able to get the guidance you need and assist on your natural hair wellness journey, because your wellness journey for hair is a journey within for yourself. Like, you are like a plant, you are like the earth, and you are an embodiment, you're a temple. And I want to be able to show you this piece and portion, and I come from a loving, kind experience. And lastly, it says, where there is knowledge, it will pass away. I want you to know that there is no constant in life but change. And with that being said, I told you I like to learn. I learn all day. I be reading up on things all the time. So I'm always looking for new ways to instill wellness in a perspective that is holistic, budget friendly, because again, I'm working on the finance portion, but I am literally here to be a guide. And when I said I was a community health worker, my certification lapsed currently, but I am a resource. I am very resourceful. A lot of the resources I extend to others, I've had to use myself. So I'm coming from a place of, I get you. And so with that being said, I'm Tree from Tree Essentials, and I'm restoring your tree to grow essentially. And we have the ability to plant seeds, inspire others, and inspire change. And I love you. And you have a great day or night wherever you are. And I look forward to speaking and working with you soon. Subscribe down below so you can get more information on different hair wellness tips and different parts of the dimension of wellness that you may have been seeking or didn't even know you needed. All right, you have a good one.